Welcome everyone, and I'm Kylie, your moderator. In this session, we'll talk about how youth can drive defossilization and make use of the chat box function and make sure you guys connect with each other. All right? Okay, so without further ado, I will continue introducing our speakers. We have Priscilla Lin, she's the co-founder of Soulmunity and the Shared Meal. And Priscilla is currently working in the private sector as a sustainability professional. She was also one of the youth delegates in COP26 and COP27. Her work addressed global inequality and poverty, as well as education campaigns. And the next speaker we have today is Zainab, and she's working as an associate research fellow at Sustainable Development Policy Institute, the SDPI in Pakistan. Her work is around climate diplomacy, advocacy, and resilience. She's also working on clean energy diplomacy in South Asia, which is a really good work. And finally, we have another speaker from Japan. She's Haruki Yamamoto. She's a member of Climate Youth Japan. She's from the School of International Liberal Studies at Waseda University in Tokyo. She's been to COP27 last year, and this year she will be the project leader at COP28. Congratulations. Okay, so without further ado, may I please have Miss Haruki, if you could introduce yourself, if it's possible, and then you can slightly talk about your work.
Hello everyone. Sorry with only my voice. My name is Haruki Yamamoto. I'm currently a fifth year university student at School of International Liberal Studies at Waseda University in Tokyo. I'm graduating soon. I mean next month, and I'm a member of Climate Youth Japan, which is a climate youth NGO in Japan, and I was a dispatch member to COP27 last year. And this year, I'm the team lead of COP28 team within the NGO. So I'm leading COP28 team this year. So I will be visiting Dubai this year's December. Personally, I will be a government official in next year from April. I will work for a Ministry of Environment, no, Economy, Trading, and Industry from next April. That's my personal info. And from now on, I will start my presentation. Um, yeah, without the presentation slides, it might be difficult to carry you in all the information that I want to talk about, but I will try. So today I will talk about three things. First is energy situation in Japan. Um, that why I talk about it is because I think I'm the only one Japanese speaker for today's session. I'm gonna talk about um energy situation and also solar situation in Japan first, and then I will talk what youth can do in that field, in my opinion. So first, I will talk about basically Japanese government, what Japanese government is doing with regard to energies, and Japanese government has key kind of motto. It's called S+3E. S stands for safety, and 3E, each E stands for first is energy security, second is economic efficiency, and third it's environment. So let me talk about safety first. Um, so before, maybe you already know, but Japan experienced nuclear power plants accident in 2011, and since then, Japanese government is too much focus on safety when it comes to energy policy. And about safety, The picture shows when I visited Fukushima. Uh, Currently, you can visit. Only permitted people, but if you contact with the appropriate proper people, you can visit Fukushima on site and see the nuclear power plants that which had accident only with like 100-meter away. Next is energy security, the first E. Um, Energy security is almost the same meaning as like how much energy you can provide by yourself. And regarding that, Japan is really low, like only 12% we can supply by ourselves. And if you look at this graph, you see like how much self-sufficiency was before the nuclear power plant's accident. I mean, in 2010, but now it's only 12. And we have to, the Japanese government would have to like increase this number. Oops, sorry. My Alexa has answered me. Yeah. Regarding economic efficiency, yes, if you look at the solar PV in the middle, it says business use. But if you do business use solar PV, the cost of energy generation is almost the same as nuclear or LNG or medium hydro, and even less than coal thermal. To my surprise. And regarding environment, Japanese government is aiming to um, reduce GHG 46% compared in 2030 compared to 2013, and in 2050, um, Japan is aiming to be carbon neutral, but only with carbon removal, like CCUS technology. And yeah, it's government's aim, but currently in 2022, the portion of solar was only 10%, but it aims to be almost 15% in 2030. In my opinion, it's not that big difference. Mm, yeah. So next, I would focus on solar, um, especially in Japan. Yeah, as I said um, in the previous slide, currently it's 10% of solar, but it's aiming to be 15%. It seems like it's not that much difference if you look at this percentage, but if you look at the kilowatt hour amount of like generated energy with solar, in 2021 it used to be almost 70 billion kilowatt hour, but it's aiming to be 124.4 billion, which means like almost twice of the amount. So when you look at this kind of number, you see like how much Japanese government is aiming to use solar in Japan. And the number in the amount of solar is getting increasing every year, but yeah, but gradually. And as we are kind of solar superpower in the world right now, we are facing or we are finding problems with solars actually. And I will introduce three major problems with solar. First one is that there is not enough space to build solar panels currently, and one solution to it is said to be solar sharing. I will talk about it later. And the second point is environmental destruction. Solar, it's renewable energy, so it's said to be good for environment, but when you look at the photo on the right hand side, you see solar panels in the middle of the mountains, which is kind of destroying the nature. And the last problem is that there's an era coming of mass of disposal, mass solar panels of disposal. This is because of the solar power's short lifespan. There's a era of like 2030s where we face this problem. Lastly, it is the most important point, but I will talk about what youth can do in this topic. So when I was preparing my presentation, I was thinking, actually, energy is such a difficult topic for youth to be involved, but here's my idea of what youth can do. And there's 3 steps. First is to study offsite, which means like study online or collect materials and read books and have discussion with each other. But then we need to visit on site. So the picture shows um, when I visited solar sharing in Chiba Prefecture in Japan. So solar sharing, what I was mentioning before, is solar with agriculture. So since we don't have enough place to introduce solar panels in Japan currently, we are many people are starting to do solar sharing. But still a bit of issues there. But yeah, so we visited there on site, and then after we visit on site, um we should talk to adults and advocate. Um, so here I will introduce you issues found on site study. When we visited solar sharings on site, we found out that actually the guy in the middle is the one who is making or doing his business with solar sharing there, and he introduced us or explained us what he does or how solar sharing business is, and so on. And we found out that it's still difficult to make profits without governmental subsidies, and also this is not necessarily with a solar sharing, but solar panels have short lifespan. And other issues are like with for in when it comes to solar sharing, we have to choose appropriate plantation for it. For example, still like it's still difficult to make solar sharing with rice field, because rice needs more of solar, um solar. And also the solar panels issues in Japan, it's always like that, but solar panels are produced mostly in China and not in Japan, and which is really risky when it comes to also the energy security, sufficiency, self-sufficiency. And with these kind of activities, we are, yes, advocating adults as an NGO. And for example, in my opinion, youth have privilege to talk to or work with anyone or in any organization, which is quite convenient when you want the advocate. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Haruki. It was really inspiring to see all the efforts that you have put in here, and energy security. This is definitely something that it's seldom be touched on, due to the living standards and lifestyle currently in developed cities, and it's really nice to touch on certain topics like this. Then the next one I will have sign up. May I please have you to share your presentation?
Okay, thank you so much, Kylie, and for the introduction. And I have listened to Haruki, and thank you for sharing such insightful energy transition that is happening in Japan. And so I'll be discussing briefly of what is the overview of energy transition in Asia Pacific and how youth can drive the transition. So, my first slide indicates the vulnerability of Asia Pacific's climate change. As you can see, that the world economy could lose more than 18% of current GDP by 2048 if no climate action is taken. But the Asian economy would be 26.5% smaller, while ASEAN countries could lose 37.4%. Now, in the recent years, specifically over the last 4 5 years, we have seen that the slow onset of climate events it's no longer slow. Now we are experiencing more like a sudden onset of climate events that is creating catastrophes around the Asian region, Asian continent, and the continent is the most vulnerable region in the world when it comes to the climate crisis. So this is the heat map that represents the climate heat map that represents the Asian continent vulnerability that lies within the extreme high and increased risk to climate change. So, energy outlook and challenges. Now, we have seen that over the last couple of years, first it was the planetary crisis, then the triple C crisis, that was COVID, climate change, and conflict. How it has affected the Asian continent is there was pandemic, and because of the pandemic, the gains of development they were not fulfilled, and the SDG agenda progress was slowed down. So after that, but now over the last 2 3 years, the crisis has converted into perma crisis, and that is again due to the triple C crisis, COVID, climate change, and conflict. Now, due to the conflict in the world, we are experiencing the ripple effects in the form of increased energy prices, energy insecurity, inflation, especially in the Asian continent. And so, again, it is quadrupled by the climate change crisis that is we are experiencing in the form of floods, heat waves, hurricanes, and so many other disasters that are created because of the climate change. So it has created energy inflation and insecurity. So around 75 million people who recently gained access to electricity are likely to lose the ability to pay for it. This is the recent stats from the International Energy Agency, and this is about the Asia Pacific continent. And the energy crisis is exacerbating social inequality. We know that the continent, it's a developing region, has a lot of potential, but because of the perma crisis, the economic growth has reversed, and it has been affected extremely by the triple C crisis. So that is creating more social inequalities. The population is suffering because Asian continent has increased population, so there are more challenges for the local population in the form of vulnerabilities, whether it's about women, whether it's about youth. So that is why the social inequality is increasing. Then the renewable power generation continued to expand despite of these challenges, and with solar growing by 27%. Now here is the potential that exists within the transition to renewable energy, specifically for solar. And this is the stats for, again, Asia Pacific continent. Despite of the pandemic, despite of climate crisis, despite of conflict, the opportunity and the potential of solar is increasing. So the efforts to reduce energy intensity and the carbon factor are inadequate to align with the objectives outlined in the Paris Agreement. Whether it is the 1.5, whether it is the net zero, we are lagging behind our commitments. We are lagging behind the our NDC's targets that we have committed. We are lagging behind the global stocktake commitments that we are making in Paris. purview of the climate crisis. So we need to speed up and expedite our efforts for the clean energy transition, because that is going to improve our commitments and improve the chances of fulfilling our commitments, whether it's the NDCs or whether it's the Agenda 2030. So wind and solar capture prices from wholesale markets are falling. Now in 2023, this is the latest trend. They were 4% lower than those of coal power in 2022. But this gap is predicted to widen to 20% by 2030 as renewables are more widely adopted. So despite of the challenges, Asia Pacific region is working around renewable energy transition, and more is being focused on solar and wind energy in the region because of the existing potential. Asia Pacific power demand accounted for 52% of global power demand in 2022, and it relied on 66% of its power supply from fossil fuels in 2022. So this was the latest outlook. Now, Asia Pacific's 10-year power supply investment outlook, it increased 14% in the coming decade, and solar and wind power combined for 49% of the region's total. As I mentioned earlier, solar and wind are the key areas where the great potential lies. And over the next 5 years, the region is projected to add 1840 gigawatts of power plant capacity, with solar and wind contributing 55% of capacity. And Asia Pacific's share of global power demand will rise to 58% by 2040. So because of the increasing population, because of the increasing demand, Asia Pacific region needs to consider the energy transition and how what steps needs to be taken to speed up the process. Now this is from Wood Mackenzie, and expectations for coal generation in Asia Pacific have increased in the 2025 outlook, but will halve by 2050, while renewables grow nearly 10 times. So again, although we are depending a lot on coal and other fossil fuels, but there is an increasing trend in the renewable energy adoption, and we are hopeful that this trend will be reversed when in terms of coal declining and renewables increasing. So Asia youth bulge. Now youth make up about 19% of the region's total population, and over 60% of the world's youth live in Asia Pacific. This translates into more than 750 million young women and men aged 15 to 24 years as per the definition of youth. And this is the trend represents represented in the graph. It represents how Asia region is leading, Asia continent is leading the population stats in the world, and in comparison to rest of the world, this is the current trend of 2022 as per the United Nations population source. Now there are certain challenges for youth. I have just highlighted key challenges that are at the macro level, that include education. Although literacy rates are increasing, they are improving, but disparities often persist. The number of out-of-school children is still increasing, and access to education by young girls and women is still lacking in many parts of the Asian continent. Now, especially the developing countries, low and middle income developing countries. Then again, unemployment is one of the biggest key challenges for the youth. Even if there is education, there is unemployment, and the main reason for unemployment is that the youth are not either there's lack of upskilling, they're lacking the key skills to access the job market, or there is the adults are taking up more of the employments in comparison to the youth. And most of the times, whenever there's a demand for there's an application for jobs, most of the time they want more than 15 years experience or 20 years experience, and that is where the problem lies. The fresh and young minds are not given the opportunity. So this trend is very much prevalent in the Asia Pacific region, and that is why the youth are not able to gain access to the right set of employment opportunities. Then decision-making process, they still lack access to the policy and planning process. The governance structure is not up to the mark that is all-inclusive, and that is not all-inclusive. So women and youths, they are lacking access to the key decision-making process at governance level, and that is where we need to work on to improve the participation of youth in driving the energy transition in the Asia Pacific region, because we have a lot of youth bulge, and so there lies the opportunity for them in the decision making process, and they have to be part of the decision making process. Then we have how can youth drive defossilization. Now, defossilization or decarbonization, as the speaker before me has emphasized the importance of decarbonization already. Although decarbonization is a great challenge for the South Asian economies and South Asian countries, because of the economic and socio-political aspect of the region, it is not possible to to convert this industry or to decarbonize the industry entirely, because we are facing those challenges that have not been faced by the developed countries who are now on the route to defossilization or decarbonization. So our challenges are very different, because we have not been on the same level or the same trajectory of the development or industrial development that was adopted by the developed countries or the global north. So that is where the challenge lies. So for defossilization, yet although we are not on the same trajectory, but we need to work on strategies that can help to decarbonize or defossilize the industries and defossilize the economies. But the process is going to be slower, but it can be expedited if we start working using the bottom-up approach and by engaging youth population. So here are some recommendations from my side. First is we need to connect youth with representatives from the government, industry, academia, civil society, and other international organizations. Within the Asia Pacific continent, if youth are in academia, they lack access to the industry, and because of the gap within academia, industry, and the policy side, the right set of research or right set of youth engagement is not being made possible. So that is where the key gap lies in the governance structure. We need to connect these aspects of academia, industry, and government, where youth are engaged through research, policy making, and youth ideas to promote energy transition. Then offer possibility to hear real life experiences from those working in the energy sector and discuss current challenges and opportunities for youth in energy. Although this has been there's great awareness now, and youth are being, there are experts who are trying to mentor youth, but still within the Asia Pacific region, and by keeping in view the system dynamics in the continent, the youths need to be connected with the right set of people who understand the system dynamics in the continent and who can guide them better for energy transition. And then enabling them to meet peers that share similar interests, as well as potential employers and mentors. Now, this is where knowledge transfer between developed and developing countries can help to expedite the process on clean energy transition. And by exchange programs, all the exchange programs are happening, but that is merely at academia level and not connecting government to government or government industry and academia from Asia Pacific continents to the developed countries. There needs to be more opportunity. Then giving them on-site experiences and internship opportunities to gain practical insights into the sector and build their energy career. Now, Asia continent is a very vast continent, and in different regions, sub-regions like South Asia region. If I talk about South Asia region, the region is least integrated. First, we need to enhance the regional cooperation on energy transition, and that can be enhanced if we start providing opportunities to our youth within the region first. We know that certain countries in the region are leading the game in the renewable energy transition, so they can help the other countries to adopt the renewable energy by knowledge transfer and capacity building programs that is offered to youth of those countries, and through exchange within the region, that can be very fruitful. Encourage youth entrepreneurship. We know that youth entrepreneurs in the energy sector, the number of youth entrepreneurs has increased tremendously over the last few years, and they are working around solar, wind energy startups, and they have SMEs, and they are also working around waste to energy. So I think that needs to be encouraged. For that, a right set of policies have to be integrated that provides ease of access to youth, to the finance, and to the policies planning, and to the right set of people and mentors who can train them and who can scale up their solutions. Green skills for the youth in energy sector. Now, upskilling is the key if we want to work on increasing the employment opportunities for youth. They need to be trained in green skills, and also youth who are working already in certain sectors, those sectors need to be green. green, how we can green the existing job market, how we can enhance the green skills in terms of energy transition, in terms of circular economy, in terms of climate change. That is where we need to work on. And I think that will increase the opportunities for youth who can, not just in the employment sector, but who can also work out on their entrepreneurship skills within this green job market. Improve policy framework which is suitable for encouraging startups, and community level indicators. As I mentioned earlier, we need to adopt a bottom up approach which starts from the community. Now, specific community level indicators should be designed. Let's just say, if now just energy transition partnerships is the new buzzword that was culminated after COP27, right? So now everybody is working, different countries are working around just energy transition way forwards and roadmaps. So I believe in Asia Pacific region, and especially in the low middle income developing countries, this should be taken up as an opportunity, and this should be taken up at using a bottom up approach where communities are engaged by, they can develop their own energy transition roadmaps, and youth can take the lead there. So the policymakers can provide them the access to the right set of sectors that can finance them, support them, and they can guide them with the policy that is existing policy framework that can support the just energy transition. And at community level, these programs should be started. And I think that is where the opportunity lie for youth. I do understand there are certain platforms like Youth and Energy, Women in Energy, they're taking the lead. But at community level, we are seeing lacking such platforms that are taking the lead at bottom level. So I think local governments can be engaged, and this can be a starting point for just energy transition using a bottom-up approach. Training the next generation of sustainable energy innovators, like programs like different hackathons and different innovators program, they can help support the ideas and for the just energy transition within the Asia Pacific region. And these programs need to be supported and financed by the private sector, so more of these programs can be organized and more of the ideas can be scaled up in just energy transition in the Asia Pacific region. Now, as I am working at SDPI, which is Pakistan's leading research policy think tank, and I'll mention some of the initiatives that we are taking within Pakistan. We work in 3 core areas: research, policy influencing, and capacity building. Energy is one of our key research units under which we are engaging with stakeholders at regional level as well and international level to improve the energy transition in the country. And some of the programs have been listed here. At SDPI, we have taken some initiatives. First one is Network on Clean Energy Transition. And you can scan the barcode given on the left to learn more about the network. There are different publications and reports on the energy transition in Pakistan and how energy diplomacy can be enhanced in the region and what needs to be done. So you can learn about it. And under this network, we have been able to include stakeholders from private sector, from public sector to discuss a way forward. And this network is gaining more momentum in the country, as we are also launching youth chapter under this Network on Clean Energy Transition. The second network is Network on Circular Economy that has been recently launched, and under the circular economy, we're also looking after different sectors in which youth can be engaged for just transition towards circular economy in Pakistan. And we are also looking to connect with regional partners so we can work out on a regional platform or forum that can improve the circular economy transition in the region, and that can support the transition in the region. So I invite Carbon Lab and all the partners who are engaged for this conference to join SDPI for this initiatives, and we can connect and we can work out on such initiatives. Every year we conduct a Sustainable Development Conference. This is our flagship event. This year's theme is Light at the End of the Tunnel, Hope in Times of Despair, keeping the context of conflict situation, climate change, post-pandemic situation, and economic lack of economic growth. So we have this theme for this year's conference. This is the overarching theme, and we want to engage youth who are now in a state of despair. If in the region and in the country, what the future will look like, and how because of the state of emergency of due to climate crisis, and how they can work on different sectors like energy, circular economy, private sector engagement, financial inclusion to improve the situation. We are also having in Sustainability Investment Expo this year, where we are inviting youth startups and different partners from the to visit and showcase their initiatives around circularity, sustainability, energy, and different aspects of sustainability. We will also be recognizing the best efforts that are being taken from the private sector in Pakistan through our awards. So here are the links have been shared. And if you would like to learn more details, you can connect me at this email address, and I'm also available on Twitter for more discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Zainab. It was really wonderful sharing. And lastly, I will have Priscilla to share on her presentation. So, Priscilla, I will share the screen for you right now. Could you?
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about the voice issue. I think it was a technical issue I got. But very short summary. In Hong Kong, we did community to promote community solar. How we advocate the government to open up different vacant land and space to install different solar panel, so we can really increase the renewable energy potential in Hong Kong. And then with the goal, we can drive the renewable energy transition. On this slide, I want to highlight in the just transition kind of framework, there's different ways we can see it. From the government point of view, we need to increase the renewable energy target, not only to make our decarbonization and defossilization, but also addressing to the Paris Agreement. Second part, we need the utility company in Hong Kong or in general to really enable the user to adopt renewable energy in the daily usage. For research community, we hope to see there's greater impact from the research result that can connect to policy change. So this is the part we hope to see more. And in terms of youth, I think there's a very important part is to understand your voice matter. There might not be a lot of formal structure. I noticed we have struggled a lot within there's proper channel or the structure. But I also want to highlight is like we all have a voice and we are not having the leisure to not use it. So in that sense, I also want to encourage all of you to, if you have the space, so make sure you make it inclusive so youth can be part of it. And if you are youth, then make sure be creative about how you channel your voice out. But this is my ending part. I also want you to understand business. We notice there's stronger drive to make changes and civil society to really connect and build this social dialogue for this energy transition. So this will have just transition element, but in general, we are looking forward for more climate leadership, whether from the regulator, also from the community aspect. So I look forward to collaborate and connect with all of you. Feel free to reach out at community@gmail.com and reach out to me. I think that's my part, and look forward to the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. It was a really nice moving forward question that you just mentioned. So right now, I'm going to address some questions that we have from the Q&A. So I do have some questions on my end, but of course, the audience first. So Shamil, I think that's how your name pronounced, Yerushalmi. So I raised a question in the Q&A session asking that, is it according to you need collaboration between young people and community for encouraging development of solar energy? I think he's trying to understand, is it the collaboration between the young, the youth, and the community creates an encouraging development for solar energy. What do you think, Zainab and Haruki?
Yes, definitely. I think collaboration between youth and community will encourage development of solar energy. It is still not up to the mark in the Asia Pacific region. As I mentioned in one of my slides, as key recommendation that at community level, using a bottom-up approach, we need to come up with our own just energy transition roadmap for the communities where youth can take the lead and where they can come up with ideas, they can connect with the local governments, and at that point local governments need to support the transition. And it can be done through capacity building, it can be done through upskilling programs, and it can be done through so many other ways, to exchange programs within the Asia Pacific region by the countries who are actually on the trajectory to just energy transition. There are different countries already working on improving the inclusivity within the solar sector, so they can support other countries as well. So yes, community and youth engagement is a key factor for improving the transition and for promoting the solar energy.
Thank you so much. How about Miss Haruki? Do you have any thoughts over these questions?
Yeah, if I may say, within my NGO, we visit on site, for example, solar sharing, as I mentioned in the previous slide. We, as youth, first get interested, and then we go on site and meet people there, and we decide our future career, for example, in that way. And I think that's one of the possible options um, as an outcome of collaboration between youth and community. Thank you.
Thank you, Haruki and Sign Up for your addressing on the questions. We do have an other one right now. Let me put it over here. So Shmuel raised another question. So he asked if time will permit here another question. Is it need special state or national programs for encouraging young people using solar energy? So is there any special state or national programs which is encouraging for young people to adopt, to apply solar energy? It is for the question.
So may I answer?
Sure.
Thank you. So I'm not sure about what programs exist in other countries, but if I talk about Pakistan, I do know certain programs like Women in Energy. Also, in some other countries, there is a Youth in Energy chapter. Then there is Student Energy platform that supports Asia Pacific youths and that conducts surveys depending upon the youth participation in energy transition. Also, as I mentioned, at SDPI in Pakistan, we have launched the Network on Clean Energy Transition to support youth, women, and to make energy transition inclusive. And that network engage different stakeholders from public sector, private sector, and CSOs to work out on a roadmap for just energy transition. So I think based on it also has a youth chapter. So I think the same network can be since it's at national level, but we are encouraging it to be a regional level network as well. And we would like to invite other countries and partners to join us to improve and enhance the network's outreach within the region. So yes, if it's a national level network at Pakistan, at least on my part, I can assure you that we would like to work out on a regional sort of engagement. And I'm sure that there might be programs and networks in other countries as well in Asia Pacific at local level who would like to engage. But I think for integration, we need to have more dialogues like this organized by CarbonCare, and we need to have more participation from youth. And I appreciate CarbonCare for organizing this dialogue today and this conference and involving youth and making it more inclusive. So I think these kind of dialogues can improve the situation in the region, and it can encourage young people who are using solar energy to participate more and develop national level roadmaps. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, definitely. Haruki, if you have any thoughts, share on.
Um, Not from my side. I unfortunately I don't know any kind of the program. So
No worries, no worries. I will have another question for myself. Actually, I've been waiting for this moment for so long. It was really nice and inspiring to see all the young people working so hard on the climate action issue. And 2 months ago, I've been to the London Climate Action Week. I see the youth all around the world. They take so much initiative to work on climate issues. So all these young people grouped together, they are so active. They would just raise issues, questions, and find solutions very actively. And I'm so proud of them. So the thing is, the society always mentioned that, oh yeah, the youth, the young participation is so important. But may I know what support and what kind of resources you think would be the most beneficial for the young people who are passionate about climate change? So what do the society could offer to the young people? Can
may
sign
I
up
go?
or Haruki? Yep.
um, it's not our NGO's thought, but my personal thoughts. But I would say I'm always dreaming of like a youth ministry idea. So if there is like a national official youth ministry function, then and we can kind of vote for our delegate, then it would be very nice to collect youth idea, especially for when it comes to climate change issue.
I think what can be done is, as we have seen that at COP27, the developing countries were very much proactive in, and because of the good diplomacy, loss and damage fund was, it was announced, and Pakistan also played a pivotal role, and with other developing countries from the region. So I think, however, different pledges were made by different developed countries in terms of finance, but I think I don't see those pledges being, materialized sooner or at next COP28. However, what we can expect, or what the developed countries should be doing for the developing countries, for the developing region in Asia, like Asia Pacific, they can do a knowledge transfer program. They can do a capacity building program for building capacities of youth, and teaching them the right set of skills, and through right set of programs, providing them the opportunities to learn more and to upskill themselves within the energy sector. And that is how it can create a difference. Knowledge transfer is the key. We know that data collection is an issue. Data reporting is an issue within our region, but developed countries have improved their data collection and data reporting. So why don't they teach us? We are very much open to learning from them, and we are very much open to conduct this knowledge transfer, share the data, learn more, and upskill ourselves to increase and enhance the transition. So I think that's one way of in making youth engagement inclusive as well, because developed countries have the resources. But before that, within the region, the countries that are at the moment in the Asia continent, they need to align their goals. They need to align their partnerships on energy transition, where youth are, engaged more, where youth are working, where youth exchange programs can take place, where communities can be supported. Hong Kong getting connected with South Asia region, Pakistan getting connected with Southeast Asian countries on energy transition, on developing and improving the access to energy, on making it inclusive, creating chapters that can support data reporting, the right sort of data reporting that we can present at COP28 collectively. That will create a difference. So it has to be first at regional level, and then we can collaborate to discuss this with the developed countries to improve the access and to improve the inclusiveness of youth in the energy transition.
Thank you. It was such a nice sharing. And Zainab and Haruki, definitely, Haruki mentioned we have to collect, a lot of youth voices. It was really important for us to know that. And Zainab, you do mention about how we can provide, training and knowledge based on the young people as well. And thank you for raising those points. So I'm gonna wrap up a little bit here. So we are about to end this session real quick. So to conclude, I think it is always important to we should embrace the quality of the young people's arguments, not to the extent to which they align our views, because I think a lot of the time the society did not take the young people's voices in mind clearly, because they were thinking, because your view does not align with my view. But the thing is, when we're dealing with climate change, young people often come up with innovation, creative ideas, and the quality of their argument is valid. So young people, undoubtedly, they play a very important, vital role over the next decades. It will be more and more important. So they should be represented and involved in the decision-making process, as all the speakers you have just mentioned. And it's really important to acknowledge their effort as well and give them recognition, because I think a lot of young people nowadays, they lack of recognition on the efforts. And just Sineb and Haruki, you mentioned a really good point. I think a lot of young people, they try to encourage the youth entrepreneurship. I do see a lot of young people taking up important roles these days. I'm really proud. Just as one of our speakers, Priscilla Lin, she's the co-founder of the Community and the Shared Meal. She was taking a very great action, not only participating in climate action, but young people, you're also a leader in taking action. So I'm very proud of you guys. And I'm going to end the session here. So for all of you, today at 5 p.m., 5:10 actually, the session for today will be done. But tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, we will have more sessions coming. So tomorrow we have people talking about solar energy technology applications. So make sure you check it out, go to schedule, and don't miss out, okay? I'll see you again next time. And if you want to connect, please go to the people and then just find the speakers and connect them. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.